right now, up until this point, no one is wrong, right? No one is wrong, right? What do you all think? Anything else you want to say? Anyone wants to share? What is the Dhamma? Question, because you are here because of the Dhamma. Then I ask you, what is the Dhamma? And then there is, it's like a little symphony going on, up and down, up and down.
Teachings to get enlightenment?
Yes. Teachings for enlightenment. So, what do we have? Nature's law, the way out, eradication of craving, teachings for enlightenment. What else? The Buddha's teaching. All correct. So now I ask you my next question. Do you know the Dhamma? Yes? Sort of? My guess, correct me loudly if you disagree. My skin can take it on, don't worry. My guess is you will say, I sort of know, but then I don't think I really know. Is that correct? Yes. Sort of know, but don't really know. Okay, I will share with you my own answer. Not that it's the only answer. I love this. It's not the only answer. But if you can leave this room bearing in mind these 2 points about the Dhamma, good enough. Number 1, in my mind, Dhamma was Buddha's description of reality. We all have our impression of reality. But Dhamma is actually the Buddha explaining what is reality. Dhamma was the Buddha's explanation of reality. And Buddha's explanation of reality has all these components. Dukkha, 4 Noble Truths. Tilakkhana, the 3 characteristics. So, impermanence, dukkha, substancelessness or soullessness. He talks about the conventional reality and the ultimate reality. His explanation about what is reality is ultimate reality. What we perceive to be reality is conventional reality. And straight away our mind goes into overdrive. Ultimate reality is not conventional reality, and therefore ultimate reality must look very different, feel very different, seem very different, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. That's how our mind works. We get very creative. You don't have to worry too much about what is ultimate reality. That's my advice to you. It is not esoteric. Ultimate reality, defined by Buddha, is not esoteric, meaning mysterious. It is not. It is still very much a part of reality. It's just that that part of reality that never crossed your mind. You don't see reality, you don't see the world, the mind responds to the world in the same way as you should if you understand your mind correctly. If you understand your mind correctly, you wouldn't behave the way you had been behaving all this while. We will behave very differently. But because we don't see reality correctly, ours is a subjective reality. Because it is a subjective reality, we respond to it with the lobha, the dosa, and the whole thing is shrouded in moha. Conventional reality is moha, in other words. So the reason why we behave in the way we do, and we are always dancing 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, that's a good day. A bad day is 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. The reason why we keep doing this is because we are caught up in our mind-made reality. That's the conventional reality. And the characteristics which are important, we don't pay much attention to them. Not that we don't know, but we don't pay attention to them. And what are the characteristics which are important? Impermanence. We don't give much weight to impermanence. We get caught up. Yes? We don't give much weight to dukkha. Instead, we are constantly looking for the cousin of dukkha, which is sukha. We build our life around trying to put in place sukha. Therefore, you're avoiding dukkha. The thing is, dukkha need not be a feature of life. But our life is built around avoiding dukkha. Sometimes it's a real dukkha, sometimes it's just avoiding it. That's how we live. And we are always driven by number 1, the I, the ego. When you quarrel, here you are, lofty goals and all. I'm going to be saving the world. Lofty goals, all right? I'm going to help. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be really nice today. Hey, why you jump you like that? Of course, not talking about you, but the reality is, very small thing can tweak us, can stir us up very quickly. If you're driving, you're searching for a lot, somebody cuts in, really, and that's a nice day. A bad day and all the funny words will come out. We do that. Or 2 people quarrel or argue. 2 people argue. How quickly it will degenerate into I, ego, I ain't going to talk to you again. Completely unreasonable, this person. And so forth. So we pay attention, back to my point, we pay attention to the wrong things. And we pay attention to the wrong things because our mind doesn't quite see the important ones. Not that you are deluded, not that you don't know, you know. How many of you don't know, never heard of what Buddha said? Impermanence, you don't know. We all know, right? Don't know? You know, right? So shy, say louder lah. For the record. You know. But we don't pay attention to those features because in our juvenile mind, we don't consider those features important. You either don't get it or you don't see that important. Or you get it, not get it, you kind of got it conceptually, but you don't realize that they are significant. They are realities. They are the real thing. But we're caught up in the opposite part. So, Buddha's description of reality, that's one. That's the Dhamma. And this is only one portion of the teaching. There are other portions which we are not going to them today. This one portion, a very critical part of the Dhamma, the nature of reality, and what are the key distinguishing features of that reality. That's the Dhamma. And as a subsidiary to this big part is, so what? Now that you know reality, so what? This is very important. Many a times we get caught up in seeing the mind as it is. We go on and on and on talking about seeing the mind as it is. Yes? How many of you gone for retreat will say, that's what we're supposed to do, see the mind as it is? Yes, but that's only midpoint. That's only midpoint. Then you go, it's true or not? It's in the Sutta. The Sutta says, Yatha Buddha Jnana Dasana. After that, it goes on to say, Nibbida, Viraga, Vimutti, Nibbana. It goes on to say those things. Which we say, never mind. We just deal with the reality first. Do you know why there are all these other parts? The other parts are the so what. So that you can feel free and be at peace. Seeing reality as it is alone doesn't give you the joy. You see, it gives you the joy, but it does not give you a sustained peace. But without seeing, there is no way you can continue that journey. So seeing is a very critical milestone. Understanding the mind and how it works is a critical milestone. But the rest of that journey, in other words, you must see as he described reality. You must see and realize what he had been explaining about reality. When you see it and you realize it, you understand it, then you understand, I see. So, that is why I have to train myself, train the habitual mind, to become different. Because if the habitual mind doesn't change, there is no peace, no contentment, no nibbana, no dispassion, no nibbana. Can't happen. In order for nibbana to eventually happen for you, you have to first see the mind as it is, then you understand for yourself what the Buddha meant when we talk about the Eightfold Path. Then you rigorously, you try, you put the path into your daily life. It becomes second nature. And then you begin to feel the effects of the teaching in a bigger way. Because actually when you see it, you really begin to get it. Do you understand all this first? So, therefore, one critical part about what is Dhamma is to see the reality as described by the Buddha. The ultimate reality. That's the goal. That's one goal. So that it will give you and help you cultivate the habits to make you be able to let go, which is what someone had said earlier. You want to let go, you're going to let go after you can see. You can't see, no let go. Let go in a different way. Get it? The second point, the Dhamma is a methodology for changing mind's behavior. It's a method, a framework of practice, a framework of training to change the way your mind works. Two things. And many teachings explain the training framework. Eightfold Path is one key component of the training framework. If you understand the Eightfold Path properly, it's the entire component. If you don't understand it properly, it's one feature of it. So the Dhamma, just remember two parts to it. One part, to understand the reality as described by the Buddha. Second part, the training framework for changing behavior, changing the way your mind works. Can it be done? Yes. Must it be done? Yes. If you want Nibbana. If you want eventually for Nibbana to arise, for you to be good, to understand, to realize, those have to be done. That is why there are all these descriptions. You kind of know, but kind of don't know, right? Did I describe your state of mind correctly? You sort of know. I've listened to so many talks. I've attended so many retreats. I've read so many books. I can speak Pali. But I don't know, I sort of know, sort of don't know. It's because you keep getting tossed by the two very separate features, the separate segments of the Dhamma. They are both the Dhamma. Two important component parts of the Dhamma. You understand? This sutta, our sutta today, lay down several of the important training steps of the Dhamma. It's the part 2 of the Dhamma. Usually when I give talk, it's part 1. But today I'm going to introduce this, which is part 2. When I say part 1, you know what? Huh? What is part 1? Reality. What is part 2? Methodology. Well done. Pass. Okay. Get it, huh? No, this is very important. Now you know what's Dhamma, right? You don't come and tell me, I don't know what's Dhamma. I don't know. Now it's, I know. Just that I don't know. But you don't know the reality. And the training steps, you don't really know the training steps. But at the end of this sutta, you will know the training steps, right? Okay. The other thing, just as a side point before we start this, do you know what the Buddha described most people? He talks about the Arya practitioner, but what does he describe the world? Beings, right? Yeah. But what's the word that he usually uses? Untrained mind. He always used the word putujana, untrained worldlings, untrained minds. Do you know why untrained? You don't know the training steps. That's why untrained. At the end of this talk, you will be conceptually trained. Only conceptually trained. Because you didn't put it into practice. Once you put it into practice, you are in training. You are sekas. Okay? You're in training. That's why he used the word asekas and sekas. The arahants are asekas. The three others, the sotapannas, sakadagami, anagami, he calls them sekas. They are in training. And the rest of the world, untrained mind. You see it? So now you kind of buy the point that Dhamma is actually a formula for training. Now we go into this. You know, there's no mouse. So I have to like tap, 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 tap. Now, I'm going to skip a lot of parts, but we'll just do a summary. There was a Brahmin who came visiting. No, this is the part where two Brahmins talk and they gossip about the Buddha. So we don't need to go into this. You can read this on your own. This is the portion where two Brahmins had a conversation and they were gossiping about the Buddha's wisdom. Good or not? Yeah. Hello. This guy, he good or not? And who am I to say whether he's good or not? I'm putting it in a language we can all understand. Who am I to say whether he's good or not? Well, my mind is not of that level, therefore I cannot comment about the Buddha's good or not. Right? For those of you who had read it, sort of like this, you can see this. Wait, how many of you had read it? Wow, so many! The rest of you, what, enlightened really, is it? So they talk about this bull. The Buddha is compared to the bull elephant. And he went on to say, sir, I have seen here these guys who are really so good. And he will answer, all this you don't need. We don't have so much time to go into this because I want to get you into the training part. Yes, bit jalat. Really jalat. On. Can page down? You early don't say page down. Exchange. Okay, now we start. Number 9. So the Brahmin went to visit the Buddha, had a conversation with him. And Thank you very much. My savior. Bunakong. Oh, sorry. Okay. See? And here we talk about the elephant. Actually, don't need also. We don't need the elephant. We don't need. Here we need. Starting from 11. Above, I didn't show you, but let me just summarize the top part for you. Up until here, you had this man who praised the Buddha and talked about him being the bull elephant. And the point being that he only superficially knew the Buddha, and already he thought the Buddha was a king amongst men. Okay? So now the Buddha was going to explain further what exactly are the training steps, and how only at the end of all this do you really know the Buddha. You are familiar with this, number 11. A Tathagata appears in the world, accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable teacher, leader of people, persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. And he declares this world, which he has realized, which he has himself realized with direct knowledge. Teaches the Dhamma, good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing, and he reveals a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. You know this, and I say this is a start point. In this journey, faith is key. It's critical. You must believe what? What is this faith? You have to believe that he was a teacher, the best of teachers. He knew the method. He knew what he was doing. And he taught well. Brilliant teacher. And the Dhamma, you must believe that the Dhamma is a method that works. It's a beautiful Dhamma. Right meaning, right phrasing, and phrasing. This part is important. In other words, you have to know the Dhamma that is beautiful and you know it very well. If you don't know it well enough, then your faith sits on shifting sense. You have to build a foundation. So faith rests on knowing who and what the Buddha was, and knowing in your heart he was a great teacher, a teacher of a method that works. If your faith is, well, he was Buddha, I don't really know him, a long time ago, so don't really know him. If your faith is this kind, or the sort that says, people say he's very good, I must pray. If your faith is like this, and you put bring home, no, not useful, not good enough. Understand what he stood for, understand what he taught, understand that it's about knowing the teaching, knowing what he taught. And you build your faith on knowledge of that teaching. Okay? And then he goes on to say, because of faith, the person decided he will be a monk. He will. This is one individual who took on the training formula in full. Because of faith, because he knew what the Buddha stood for, he understood conceptually what the Dhamma was. He believed the Dhamma was beautiful because he hasn't seen it yet. but he believed it's beautiful. It's worth him giving up everything. He believed. So he goes into the training. Okay? So he goes into the training. Now, this point, this stanza, above 13, that stanza, is important. It tells you that his monk, the Buddha's Sangha, the Buddha's monastic followers, they took on the robe because they wanted to train their minds such that they can see the Dhamma. They didn't put on the robe for any other reason. You understand that? The Sangha, the Buddha's monastic disciples, took on that robe so that they can see the Dhamma. They didn't take on this robe to save you. They didn't take on this robe for any other reason. This is what is said here. Okay? 13. Having decided to take on the training rules, he abandoned killing, abstained from killing. He's conscientious, merciful, abides compassionate to all living beings. In other words, sila. Sila, morality. Look at what a chunk sila is. For those of you who think that morality is just 5 precepts, tak pakai lah, not enough, tak cukup. Not enough. There are 2 parts to everyone. There's the part that says do no evil and the part that says do good. They're all there for purifying of the mind. And this segment on sila is very long. So, in this practice, remember this, in this practice, you must have faith and you must guard your behavior, your conduct, verbal, mental, action. Action already came out. He asked you to go all the way in, keep it tight. This part is important because without the precepts, without the training rules, you can't progress to the next level. Okay? You cannot rest on the assumption that I got my 5 precepts enough already. No, it's 10 akusala. It'll go all the way down, I'll show you. So, first, your precept got 2 parts. There is the part that you don't do harm, and then there is the part that you must do good. Conscientious, merciful, compassionate. And if I were to take just this piece out, I will point this to you. Most of us are compassionate at our convenience. Most of us. We are compassionate when compassion does not intrude into my lifestyle. But the moment we perceive a self-interest, our compassion evaporates like dew in a hot sun. It will evaporate. Okay? 消到无影无踪. Show off my Chinese a bit, okay? Then the stealing part, the abandoning the taking of what's not given. So you abandon stealing, you don't take what's not given. Taking only what is given. Expecting only what is given. This part, expecting only what is given, is interesting. He didn't say expecting what has yet to be given. What is given. Right at this point, if you're scooping rice into my plate, that's all I'm expecting. In other words, in the act, I don't expect anything until you put it there. Okay, thank you very much. Get it? And by not stealing, abides in purity. So, no sex, because he's a monk. No false speech. one who is no deceiver of the world. This one is interesting. You think about it. We take telling of truth or lie on one line. Is this a fact or is this not a fact? If I tell you knowing that this is not a fact, I'm lying. Yours is what I call situational. This guy is a way of life. No deceiver of the world. It's a way of life. In his mind, he only deals with truth, facts. Abandoning malicious speech, abstains from it. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide, and so on and so forth. I will not go into a lot of detail because I have a lot of ground to cover. I'll just show you. Can you read very quickly this part? Abandoning malicious speech. And he reunites those who are divided. A promoter of friendship. Enjoys concord. Rejoices in concord. And so on. Speaker of words that promote concord. Therefore, for those of you who think that as long as we don't talk bad of people, good enough. Yes, very good. Better than not. But even better is you bring people, you reconcile people, bring people together. Abandoning harsh speech, speak words that are gentle, pleasing to the ear, lovable. Go to the heart, courteous, and so on. And because of what you have become, you are desired by many, agreeable to many. Okay? Abandoning gossip, speaks at the right time, speaks what is fact, speaks on what is good, speaks on the Dhamma and the discipline. So, just on the last part, no sampapalapa, just on the last part, there's a whole bunch of do what is right. So some of you will say, but this is the monk, right? Huh? This is monk. Okay, lor, if you say so. But this is ideal. This is what we should strive towards. Do not let the monk robe fool you. If you are on this path and you take on the training, we have to work ourselves to this level. So you watch your own mind when you talk. In the heart of heart, in what that comes out of the mouth, what is the real intent? What is the real intent? You can say it very nicely, gently, but the intent is to stab, stab, stab in a very gentle way. Also not right. That's why you look at how the Buddha said it. Speaks on what is good. Speak on the Dhamma. Speak words worth recording. This recording is not the iPad recording. This one is in people's mind, remembering. You say something beautiful and worthy, people will remember. Unfortunately, our mind is so indiscriminate, it also will remember all the bad things that you say. But he didn't say, what he said was worth recording. The bad things are not worth recording. Okay? Reasonable, moderate, beneficial. Then he goes on. Now, I will not go into details, but you look at abstaining from injuring seeds, practices eating one meal. These are all monks' practices. Okay? You can read this for yourself. There are 3. Wait, let's go back. 1, right? 13 has 1 para, 2 paras, 3 paras. 3 paras. 13 has 3 paras talking about behaving correctly, right conduct, wholesome conduct. This is sila, the sila part of the house, and it's a long portion. And part of sila, part of the viriya practice, the front part is sila. he's going into virya. 14 is into the virya. Everything that you do, you are content. Content with minimum. You are content. So, what are you building into your mind? If you are talking about the training steps, one core part of the training steps is building contentment in the mind. So, for a monk, the 4 features which are necessary, the clothes, the food, here he doesn't go into the rest. Here, the Buddha talked mainly of just the clothes and the food. And being content is what will lead him to the rest, possessing this aggregate of noble virtue experiences within himself, a bliss that is blameless. There is no pricking of conscience. By being content, he is at peace. Translate, put that into your life. Are we usually content, or are we always looking for something? This one hasn't even started the actual practice. Or rather, this hasn't even gone into the meditation part of the house. This is only the portion dealing with virtuous behavior. Faith is the first one. Sila/virya is the next one. Can you see the flow? Then it goes into sati, mindfulness. On seeing a form with the eye, he does not grasp at its signs and features. Since, if he left the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him. He practices the way of the restraint. He guards the eye faculty. He undertakes the restraint of the eye faculty, and he does it with all the 6 sense bases. All of them, including the mind. And because he was being very mindful, this is mindfulness practice. Because he is being very mindful, possessing this noble restraint of the faculties, he experiences within himself a bliss that is unsullied. Can you see that? I will repeat. Faith. What's the next one? Sila/virya. What's the next one? Sati. This is sati. So, first, know who the Buddha was, know what he taught. Having faith that the method must work. You then clean up the mind. Start with restraining all the akusala, build it into developing the kusala. Akusala is unwholesome, kusala is wholesome. If you can do this well enough, your mind will be at peace. Because it is at peace, just in that alone, you feel a certain degree of bliss. Having this degree of bliss, mindfulness, that's when the mindfulness, right mindfulness comes up. For sure, when your mind is at peace, it is not agitated, it's not flying all over the place. It's very easy to just go into the moment. That's the mindfulness. You are aware. But this is the part where you are trying to train the mind. So as you're trying to train the mind, you are looking, seeing, hearing. This is training the mind. Looking, seeing, hearing with regards to the 6 sense bases. Just hold it there. No. Don't think. Don't think too much. Just hold it there. hold it in the awareness of the sense organs. 16, you are much more skillful with mindfulness. As your mindfulness grow, you are now able to lead your daily life in mindfulness. This is the open awareness kind of mindfulness. I say it as if they are sequential. And yes, when you are training, it is sequential. But the moment your training gets underway and you are getting good at this, they are no longer sequential. They are part of your life. It becomes habitual. Okay? So, you become aware, you develop clear awareness. The word he used here, full awareness, in your daily life. Going forward, returning, you act in full awareness. Looking where you look away, extending, flexing, and so on and so forth. Wearing robes, carrying bowl, drinking, eating, and so on and so forth. Daily life. In daily activities, you are in full awareness. What is this full awareness? What's the difference between this one and the previous one? They are not very different. They are actually both sati. They are sati. But the first one, you are nailing the awareness. You are so aware of seeing, hearing, tasting. You make sure that you stay at the point of contact. And you don't go into the object. You don't run into the object. Because when you run into the object, the signs and the features, you get caught up and thoughts begin. This one is lightly. Mindfulness is light. It's just going around, just being there, general awareness, very blissful, very nice. Just aware. Not very different, but they're both mindfulness, mindfulness practice. Now you look at 17. Possessing this aggregate of noble virtue and this noble restraint of the faculties, possessing this noble mindfulness and full awareness, he resorts to a secluded place. Doesn't matter where. It can be in the forest, it can be in the mountain, it can be in a hill, whatever it is, it's a secluded place. He starts the meditation. This is samadhi. Can you see the flow? I'm not sure if you know. I'm not sure if you remember, but I've always been saying that 5 mental faculties very key to the practice. In the method to realize nibbana, in his training methods, the 5 mental faculties need to be developed very well. Faith, virya, energetic cleaning of the house, the mental house. Mindfulness, and now this one, samadhi, concentration. And in number 18, for those of you very keen on meditation, let me just draw your attention to this. He set off, look at the methods, the steps. Find a secluded place. This is how you sit. You establish mindfulness before you. Meaning to say, I bring my mind to the moment, to now. I know that I have deliberately bring up the mindfulness and I'm now in the present of here, right now. Point 1. Point 2, abandoning ill will, he abides with a mind free from ill will, compassionate for the welfare of all living beings, and he purifies his mind from ill will and hatred. How many of us, when we sit down to meditate, we even remember to do this? We don't. Sit down, count breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start again. 1, 2. You do your exercise without warm up. You're doing your mental exercises without warm-up. And that's a reason why it's so difficult. You have to fill this mind with the right conditions, mental conditions. And a critical set of mental conditions, a critical mental condition first, a critical mental condition that must come up is softness, joy, softness, kindliness, compassion. There must be joy. There must be softness. If your mind is filled with anger, very hard. Oh, I forgot the covetousness part. Abandoning covetousness abides your mind free from it, purifies it. There are different steps, by the way. You drop it, you make sure, you live. Abides with a mind free from covetousness means at the moment for an extended period, the mind has no wanting. It sits there and it knows that there is no wanting, no chasing. If you find that there is wanting in the mind, cannot meditate. And so many of us sit saying, I hope that it will be a good sitting. That is covetousness of the first degree. Now you know why it doesn't work? If you sit saying, I hope I will have a good sitting, that's already covetousness. I want it. I want it. So what? Don't want. If you can, drop the one. Accept that it is just a period you have chosen to put aside for the mind to take a breather. And start by giving. That is why there is this wonderful teacher, Ajahn Jayasaro, who said, dedicate the first 5 minutes, for those, his advice, dedicate your first 5 minutes in gratitude to the Buddha. The next 5 minutes, you dedicate, in meditation, you dedicate to your parents. So what are you doing? You are giving. You are sharing. So you sit conditioning your mind to give and share. And if you can do that, or you can sit in gratitude, because you're doing to the Buddha and your parents, it's in gratitude. There's a lot of giving there. Your mind, your heart will fill with joy. That's your condition you need. And there's no anger. For those of you who are listening to these words very carefully, do you feel joy? Can you sit now? You can. Now you sit, you can. So you must remember that. Create the correct conditions. And this is taught by the Buddha. Abandon covetousness, abandoning ill will. You bring up giving, kindliness, metta. That's why metta, if you can sit and it works, you fly. That's how it's very strong joy. You sit, joy is like magic carpet. Alibaba magic carpet. You sit on it, it flies. If you have no joy in your sitting, you will just sink like a rock. So the next one says sloth and torpor. This sloth and torpor is not you being lazy. Yeah? It is not about your mind. It's not about you being lazy. It's about heavy energy. Very heavy mental energy that when you feel it, you just don't feel like sitting. You understand? So he tells you, look at the light. See the light. Be mindful and fully aware. So for the ones who meditate, they will know when the mind is leaning towards heavy energy, straight away they must see the light. Both ways lah, whether it's light or light, bright. Worst come to worst, just open your eyes and stare at the sky. You'll be very lighted up. Mindful and fully aware. Just look at the bright side of the mind. Abandoning restlessness and remorse. Actually, when you try very hard to sit, when you try very hard, the mind actually becomes restless. And how then do you stop that? You stop trying. You go back to the light and the joy. And you say, I will just, looks like it's not going to be a good sitting, it doesn't matter. Whatever time that I sit here, I will dedicate it to someone. But don't dedicate with the intention that it will translate into a good sitting. Because then it's still expectation. Your mind, very clever one. It can be bluff, but you must believe before it can bluff, because if you don't believe, it won't be bluff. Bluff yourself, it doesn't work. So he abides unagitated with mind inwardly peaceful. Abandoning this restlessness, the word remorse, actually I don't particularly like the word remorse. I prefer the word worry. I prefer the word, I'm not saying that mine is right, but I'm just saying that to me the worry part makes a little bit more sense, because we're not always remorseful, right? But worry seems to be a common feature in our life. And it basically is a mental energy that is spinning. Look at your own mind. When you are worried, the mind keeps going back to that object. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. It goes back to the object. You keep spinning around the object. The more you push, it's like the putaong, every push it comes back to you, push it comes back to you. That's the way it is now. So how do you do that? How do you move away from that? You just accept the object. Just sit with the object. You're worried, look at the worries with it. Don't wish it away. Because when you wish it away, the energy spins faster, mental energy spins faster. And then, having gone beyond doubt, abandoning doubt, abides having gone beyond doubt, unperplexed about wholesome states. I just draw your attention to this line. We usually say doubt is about doubt of the Dhamma. What did the Buddha say? It's about unperplexed about wholesome states. What did he mean? Have you ever done something right and then you say, am I doing the right thing? Do you do that? Don't say no in front of Buddha. Sometimes we wonder whether we are doing all the right thing. Sometimes this is about meditation. When we meditate, when we sit to watch the breathing, sometimes we doubt what we are doing. Are we doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Should I be holding the mind like this? No, you're a lot of talk. So, first you set off with some understanding. It's actually very basic. The meditation itself is basic. There are only a few steps. And you will then say, I will do exactly according to these few steps. It's just a few steps. What did he say? Put your attention on the breathing in front of your face. Breathing in, you say. In breathing. Breathing out, you say. Breathing out. There's just that few steps. Yeah, but am I doing it right? You don't understand English? There's just a few steps. So sometimes, because the mind doesn't get still, then you say, must be the steps wrong leh. I don't know which step is wrong. Maybe I should count to 5 instead of count to 10. But can I count to 100? It doesn't matter. He didn't ask you to count. He asked you, breathing in, you say, breathing in. Yeah, but I do that leh. But it doesn't still. That's where your doubt is. Straight away, that's where your doubt is. You understand? The methodology of the actual meditation is very simple. Getting the mind to comply is the hard part. Right? Getting the mind to follow is the hard part. But the reason why it is hard is because you didn't do all the preliminary steps. Did you follow the steps up to this point? Odds are you didn't. Odds are this is the first time you are hearing it. Odds like odds. Some of you, of course, you have seen it. Some of you, but you didn't buy it. The fact that you do not know these by heart, and you didn't comply as laid down, that's your doubt. Then you wonder whether you're doing the right thing or not, further doubt. Maybe I'm too stupid for this thing, even more doubt. Maybe Buddha's method only work for other people but not me, lagi more doubt. You can see I'm going into Singlish already. You see that? Okay. Only when you have abandoned these 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind. Before sorry. You remember the 5 hindrances? They always mention in this sequence. They are always mentioned in this sequence, right? Did you notice that? Actually, I believe there's a reason for that. Because why isn't doubt the first one? Why is it the last one? It's because right up until there, you're already kena left, right, center from the sloth and torpor and the restlessness and that's where you doubt you can do it. That's when you go, maybe this is not the method, maybe this is not the right done, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, maybe I don't know the method, maybe I should learn under this teacher and that teacher. Only that teacher able to teach me well and now no. It's because you've tried everything. You want to drop this, you want to drop that, but it just didn't work, and then I give up. So last part is I give up. Okay, that's why it doesn't start with the first one. I think it's like that. It was never explained anywhere. So don't go away saying it's like that. I'm just saying that it feels like that because if you think about it, when you start your meditation, you say that okay, I'll drop everything, I'll just focus on the breathing. That's letting go of covetousness, isn't it? Sort of. I'll drop everything. It's not working, I was getting annoyed. Okay, so something is working, so you're very tired. Your energy starts to go down. Work it out, and then you get very agitated. Sudah lah. I think tomorrow don't try lah. Game's over. You see that? So there is some, I suspect there's a reason why Buddha laid it down in this order. So if you can, this 19 onwards talking about someone who can do it. The mind does go still. And when the mind does go still, this 19 is what will happen. The 5 mental states that trip you in meditation, they are all put aside. They don't arise. And when that happens, the mind being secluded from sensual pleasures, 2 parts of seclusion, sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states. You drop these 5 states, you are secluded from these 5 states. Straight away you enter into the first jhana and you stay there. In this state of the first jhana, it has applied, sustained thought, rapture and pleasure, piti, sukha, born of seclusion. There are only 4 mental states that he talks about. Okay? Those of you who vaguely remember a 5th, well, he didn't mention it. He mentioned these 4. If you're very keen on meditation, concentration meditation, you're very keen on concentration meditation, my advice is memorize what he said. If you want to be sure what he said, you can check out a few translations and you compare them. That's okay. but you memorize what the Buddha said, because this is exactly how the mind goes into a meditation, go into stillness. These are the steps. You will say, oh yeah, but there are many books written out there, they are not Buddha. We go with the Buddha. Let's just start with the Buddha. You can go and explore others later, if you really want to. But there's no need to. In my mind, if you're interested in the Nibbana, the Dhamma, this is good enough. Okay? This Brahman is called a footprint of the Tathagata. You're following in his steps, you see? Hence the footprint. Something marked by the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion. The Blessed One is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed, the Sangha is practicing the good way. The three things, the faith, what is your faith supposed to rest on? That he was fully enlightened, that the Dhamma was well proclaimed, and the Sangha is practicing the right way, the good way. Your faith is faith in these three things. He knew what he was saying. He thought the right thing. And there are people who realize, I put it to you in English, modern style. Get it? This is faith. Any other version of faith, Buddha wasn't taught by the Buddha. Your version. Okay? And then you see, even when someone goes into first jhana, I mean, for those of us who have never done deep meditation, right? Jhana is just, Simi, how you spell? That, Up to this level, this is a very, you see, this comes after everything else. This comes after having some conceptual faith. This comes after practicing, your virtuous behavior. Your sati is kilat, so that you can go into this samadhi meditation. And the Buddha says, not good enough. You are still entitled to wonder, in other words. A noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion. You haven't seen the Dhamma. At this point, you are still taking it on faith. You don't know Buddha's like this, Dhamma is like this, Sangha is like this. You are still taking it on faith. Okay? And then it goes into the second jhana. I'm not going into the details now. 20 is on the second jhana, just to point out the mental states. Vitaka vichara, applied sustained thought, stealing. The word that was used, it goes quiet. It goes quiet. And when this happens, it is the second jhana. And second jhana has these two qualities, actually four of them. It has self-confidence, it has singleness of mind, it has rapture and pleasure, piti and sukha, born of concentration. Again, this is called footprint of the Buddha. You are still following his steps. But you have not come to the conclusion yet. The noble disciple, that is, not you. Fading away of rapture, he abides in equanimity, mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body. Enters upon, abides in the third jhana, on account of which they announce he has a pleasant abiding, who has equanimity and is mindful. When the mindfulness is very clear, the experience is very pleasant. If you struggle in your retreat, many of you have gone for retreat, and you find that mindfulness, yes, it's really quite pleasant, but it's a struggle. This is not the one. When the mind goes still enough and it doesn't jump all over the place, and it is very aware, it is very present, that experience is pleasant, very pleasant. And abide, the word abide implies that you literally just dwell in it, live in it, effortlessly. Just sit there, just aware of the now. I'm present. No effort, it's just there. And you can get very, you can get attached to such mental states. It's very pleasant, very delightful. Delightful is a wrong word. Delightful is a wrong word, but it's just very peaceful. Abandoning of pleasure and pain. You note the verb that he used. I'm going to go up a bit. You see this one says, yeah. Am I going the wrong direction? Yes, I am. This is the result of using Apple and Android and, what is that thing called? Windows, yeah. You can Apple and you Windows, you go up and down the different direction. Correct, huh? You see this one says stealing. Yeah? What's the word stealing means? If you drop a stone into water, there will be ripples, right? And eventually, the water steals. What does it mean? It happens on condition by itself. It happens because of the condition by itself. You don't push, you just let be, you let be, and eventually it's be. 明白吗? Then this one says fading away. What does it mean? What does the word fading away imply? See, you can see they're going, gone. You can actually see that you get less and less joyous. It's a piping down of the joy. Bubble, less and less. So what's the difference between the two? The first one, you don't see going, gone. It's more like it's happening, and then it stops. The other one, you can feel the effects. It gets more and more subtle before it's over. You don't get more and more subtle thoughts. Less thoughts, yes, but at some point the thoughts don't come, just stop. It stops. Whereas this one, the effects are felt. If you're very sharp with your mindfulness, you can see the effects becoming softer, lighter, lesser, and no more. It's subtle. Okay? And then you have abandoning. Abandoning. You let go. With the abandoning of pleasure, at some point, you let go. There is an intent of sort here. It's not natural. You let it go. You can hold on to the pleasure. You can hold on to the pain. Or you can let it go. Previous disappearance of joy and grief is earlier point. This is the body part. A bhikkhu enters a pond, abides in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, purity of mindfulness, and so on. And still, at the fourth, you're still following. You still no realization. Okay? Then we go into 23. I will not go into details now. 23, 3 sets of knowledges arise. The concentrated mind thus purified. We don't have to go into this because a lot of us are not here anyway. So I will just tell you conceptually that you're here when they do it correctly and they follow in his footsteps religiously, very meticulously, they will reach a point where the mind is capable of understanding, seeing and understanding these three sets of information, knowledges. Past lives, karma, how the workings of karma, 23 is on the past lives, 24 is on the workings of karma. Beings live, beings die, you can see beings and how they all die fare according to their karma. And the last one is on the destruction of the taints. This is when he becomes the Arahant. He understands as it actually is. This is dukkha. This is the origin of dukkha. This is the cessation of dukkha. This is the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. Note, here is when you really understand the Four Noble Truths, the core, the essence of the Dhamma, the reality as is. Because he took on the training steps and he did it very carefully, systematically, the point then comes when the mind is able to see reality as is. And the reality that the Buddha spoke about, forget about ultimate reality. The reality that he spoke about is this. Why is there all this stress in the mind? What's the origin of the stress? How did the stress come about? It is possible for that craving to cease and therefore for dukkha to cease. And all these methods, all these steps that I took me here. So it's a method, and the method works. And this is how the method works. It's a training of the mind that requires you to perform three types of function. There is a conceptual part where you must understand what the teachings was about or is about. Then you learn to control all your negative habits. Make sure you cultivate, strengthen all the kusala ones, the wholesome ones, because those sets the conditions. If you never practice in daily life, if you don't make an effort to reduce craving, reduce anger, and learn to understand, watch the mind, read the sutta, cultivate, develop the knowledge. If you don't make an effort in daily life to do all these things, how can you sit there and lament that you will never understand the Dhamma in this life? You didn't do a thing. You didn't try and manage the mind. And then you want the mind to produce miracle. And you say, no, it's too difficult, can't be done. You mean to tell me that it cannot be done, that you don't scold, that it cannot be done, you can drop, hold, let go of the anger, it cannot be done? That part you can do. That part is still your choice. You understand? So it's very important you understand the importance of sila / virya. Sila, part of the house, do good, do no evil. Virya, part of the house, purify the mind. If you want to know what it means, I will put it simply this way. A bit simplistic, but this is as good as it gets. If you do it this way, religiously, why religiously? Because you're doing it on faith. Because Buddha said so, I believe so, I will do so. If you can do this properly, then you can do the third part, which is helping the mind to calm down, keeping the mind pushing, shaping, providing the conditions that will lead to the mind going quiet enough for the mind to then see glimpses of the teachings. Creating the conditions for the mind to be able to catch glimpses of the teaching. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? Once you begin to catch glimpses of the Dhamma, then you get inspired. Yes, I get it. So this is how we are doing it. Got it? You never catch a glimpse that all you have is just book knowledge. Okay? You look, he sees, this is very important, 25. He understands as it actually is. This is dukkha, there's origin, there's a cessation, there's a way. And what did the Buddha say? Still not yet. But a noble disciple still has not come to the conclusion. The Blessed One is fully enlightened. The Dhamma is well proclaimed. The Sangha is practicing the good way. He is in the process. The first time the Buddha said this, in the process of coming to the conclusion. I've said this. Seeing the mind as it is not it. This is the proof. Yes? Now you get it? Then what is it? The next one. When he knows and sees thus, the mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of being, from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It is liberated. Birth is destroyed, holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. This is when he got it. Enlightenment hits at that point when the mind no longer has those taints. When when the taints are no longer there, it's liberated. As long as the taints are there, the mind is not liberated. When the mind is liberated, it feels free, right? This is when there is this nibbana. Okay? So if someone asks you, what is the Dhamma? Can you now say? Sure? I haven't confused you, right? You get it? And then that's when you go, wow, like that, how, man? Start with the baby steps. Start with the part that you can easily control. Start by building faith, meaning up until this point you don't really have faith. It's building. That in the process of becoming, you're building faith. You have to get to a point where you really see how the mind works. And when you begin to see how that mind works, you can understand that the Dhamma is not gong nia, it's doable because it's happening to you. And then the knowledge will take away the taints, erase the taints. What are these taints? These are taints that caused you to behave in a certain way, to react in a certain way. I always said, the reason why we react in a certain way is because of karma, right? What is karma? Karma, all the taints. You do things in a certain way because you have worked the neural pathway into like that. And from here you will, if you react without restraint, it's very habitual, very instinctive. And you say, I shouldn't be like this, but you can't stop the mind being like this. In my mind, I shouldn't be judgmental, but you can't stop the mind from being judgmental. because the mind hasn't reached the knowledge of understanding how it works, it will continue to be judgmental. The moment it understands how the whole mechanism works, the mind will go, alamak, I see. So maybe I shouldn't. I get it. Now I get why we must do this to set the conditions right so that will happen. You set the correct conditions, that will happen. Conditionality. When you set the correct condition, it will happen. When you want to meditate, you must be able to provide all those positive, the joy that comes from the giving, the caring, the joy that comes from that. If your mind is too hard, you can pick up the tools, but you have no idea how to use the tools. I'll give you an example. Some people will say, I've gone for retreat and I've reached a point where I can be very mindful. I'll be very mindful. Because in the retreat condition, you work very hard to give it the correct condition. And so you are very mindful. But when I come out of retreat over, I have to go back to retreat. But you see, if you were a monk, then retreat is your life. And then it's a different story. You may or may not do the necessary that is essentially the retreat condition. Because if this is your life, loba dosa, harder to get rid of. Much harder. Because if you're in retreat, you tell yourself, 7 days, I can tolerate her snore. And I tolerate the snoring, I tolerate the rustling, I can deal with this, I can let go of this. But if you are not in retreat and this is part of your life, this is a different story, isn't it? Because you don't know how long you have to deal with this noise. And it's only a noise. It's the mind that is making noise, not the external noise that's the problem. Okay? Any question? Any question? Do you all understand this? Yes. Exactly.
Then I don't know how to get past that. Then always that time will wake up.
Therefore, if it's artificial, because when you are setting conditions, it's still constructed, right? You're setting the conditions. You're setting the right conditions for the right mental energies to arise. The right mental energies is to make it conducive for you to look at the mind. Looking at the mind in this very conducive environment enables you to then really see how the different parts of the mind works, how craving works, how feelings come from contact, how feelings lead to craving, and so on and so forth. You see how the mind works. It's from that understanding, when you see anicca, for instance, when you see impermanence, and you keep seeing every delightful taste, the delight doesn't last. It will come up and it will fade away. And if you keep drumming it into the mind that delight doesn't last, delight causes dukkha, and so on and so forth, at some point the mind says, I have enough of delight. I'm done with delight. I will remember being done with delight. That is a knowledge. That is an understanding. And then you're done with delight, with understanding. At some point, you don't have to be done with delight. At some point, you are no longer interested in delight.
I'm very peaceful. I don't think like that. Like, I'm just peaceful. That I don't.
Then it's okay, ma. You are done. Why do you want to? Sorry. I don't understand the wake up part.
Like,
But you're back in this world.
Yeah, but I think it's like it doesn't meet the kind of condition to like supposedly we heard it's like you must do like at least an hour or so
No need. No need. No need to do an hour, no need to do 2 hours.
How to get past that? Because I think it's also no good for me to just always that limited amount of time that I have to. It just automatically wake up by peace or something. I don't know how to explain it.
She wants to do longer, is it?
Yeah, how to get past.
So sorry, you're talking only about meditation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about enlightenment.
No, my question is on the meditation. For example, I just can sit 40 minutes and that's it.
Okay, that's it. That's it, it's good.
No, but
Can you see that in your desire for 45 minutes is dukkha? Can you see that your wanting to meet some milestone achievement is dukkha? Any form of wanting, however noble the wanting, is dukkha. If you can see that, then the letting go of the wanting is wisdom. Understanding that you don't have to have the one thing is wisdom. In our practice, I'm glad you raised this point, and I'm going to say this. Many of us go onto this path with a lot of preconceived notions and assumptions and conclusions. And you will believe that your assumptions, your preconceived notions, your conclusions, you will believe that they are right and they are real. Those are avijja. They are ignorance. They are ignorance. This is not saying you, this is every one of us, myself included. The more I study, the more I know, the more conclusions I will have. And all these conclusions can be helpful, but can also be an obstacle. You've got to remember that. Everything mind-made, everything your mind concludes, you will believe. That is your conventional reality. How do you get out of these assumptions? You always go back to the Sutta. You always look carefully what he said. Not what you believe he said. Not what you assume he said. But what was said. And I have learned, after so long of practicing, I have learned that sometimes you just take him literally. Don't gei kian. We're all very gei kian, right? Gei kian means pretend to be smart, which actually means you're trying to be too smart. We are like that. All of us, we all start with a such. How many of you said, I know that you can't realize in this life, kakak lah biao kin. Until you sit and learn. There was one point in your life you believe. That it's not possible to realize in this life. How many of you believe that? Once upon a time. A lot. You see that? How many of you believe, or at one time you believe, you can only realize if you are in monastic existence? Some of you believe that. How many of you believe that you need to do a whole lot of merits before you candidate for Nibbana? No, just admit it. Those were our assumptions. Those were our preconceived notions. Someone told us, don't know who, but someone told us, and now I cannot get rid of this belief. You see what I'm saying?
The time when I wake up, right, actually I don't have any expectation, and actually I feel very peaceful, nothing.
Correct.
Very let go.
Yeah.
But it's just I want to wake up. I just want to open my eyes.
Then just wake up, lor.
But I want to improve.
But you want to means dukkha, lor.
I mean, like the next time how I improve.
No need to improve. There there is no need to improve. You have assumed that where you are is not good enough. That's why you want to improve. And for some reason, there is a part in your mind that says long is quality. No, so quantity is quality. But that is also an assumption. Have you heard the monk say 5 minutes? 5 minutes. I'm serious. I am very serious. When people tell me they sit for hours, my reaction is not, oh, say. Oh, no. No. My reaction is, so what did you see? What did you understand? What did you do? The ones who have gone for my retreats will say that, right? I'll ask you, so what did you learn? What did you see? It's you remember Eightfold Path has 3 parts, right? Right understanding, Eightfold has 3 parts: wisdom, morality, meaning restraint, and the quiet mind. The quiet mind. If you want me to break it into a easier to understand portion, it's wisdom, restraint, okay? Wisdom, restraint, and a quiet mind. You can do these. You obviously can deliver the condition of quiet mind, which means that your restraints are there. You can't do the quiet mind if your restraints and the purifying the mind part is not there. You cannot do the quiet mind. It won't happen. If in daily life, you are intim, you know what I mean, huh? Intim, petty. If you nag, intim, forget it. What quiet mind you talking about? You're not even having a quiet life. Okay? So, based on what you are suggesting, based on what I understand that you said, I would say that you can deliver the restraint part, the morality part, and you have the quiet mind. And you have understanding, the wisdom. But that part is very important. The wisdom meaning understanding of what exactly the Dhamma is. It's very important. The other 2 follow after 1. And all 3 are necessary. Let me say this again. If you are working on 30% and leave it to the next life to deal with the 60%, that's not the thing to do. You need all 3. If you only have wisdom, if you have only knowledge, Dhamma knowledge, but you don't particularly care about do good, do no evil, so no standard. Precept only, so no standard. If this is your assumption, okay, and you didn't do anything about modesty, contentment, you see what he said, right? You do any of these things, you only care about gathering the knowledge so that you are so wise. And you didn't do this morality part, and you obviously didn't care very much about meditation because you can't do it anyway. We say, just build on the knowledge, will do. You know what will happen? You'll be very arrogant. Congratulations. Your ego will be very big because you're very smart and you know it. It's a bit jalat. You get what I'm saying? If you have a lot of knowledge but you have no practice and you have no quiet mind, you could be very arrogant. That is why the word that says is equanimity, indifference, it applies to you. Okay? Suppose let's say you have a lot of the middle one. Not enough knowledge, so we just take one at a time. You drop the knowledge, you drop the wisdom, you drop the meditation, but you're very moral. You're always out there saving the world. You're very moral. Then what happened? Also very jialat, because you'll be very pained. You'll be very pained. It is very dukkha because the compassion part can be very pain. You have both worlds. You have very great joy when you're giving, and a lot of pain when you see things happening, and that's one possible outcome. So that's A. Okay, this possible outcome, very pain, is possible outcome A. Possible outcome B is you became very self-righteous. You're the class monitor. You take a ruler and say, why you like that? Wow, like that are you? How come you're not vegetarian? You become very self-righteous. You become the moral police. That's not very good either. So that's B. So A is you're very pain. B is you're very, you give people a lot of pain. Okay? So A is you're in pain. B is you give other people pain. So that's 2. Suppose let's say you are a great meditator. Which is a bit odd because if you're not very good, because you're not very bad either, you're just very neutral. Okay, you're very new. Usually the ones who are very neutral, they don't have a lot of loba, lot of dosa, the moha is there, it's a given. So you don't have a lot of greed, you don't have a lot of anger, but you don't really care. So that one you can meditate still. To some extent you can. You can go very still. And because you don't have a lot of thoughts, it can be very still, right? You know what's the problem that come out of that? You can get very deluded. You start see things. Start seeing things. Flash of light, Dewa come visit me. And a lot of things can happen. That is why, I make it fun, but that is why you need 3. Not satu, not dua. You must have 3, 3, all 3. 2, you still can get away with some murder, but 3, and that's your safe. 3, and it's balance. If it's 1, you are satu leg. 1 leg, I see how far you can hop. You will topple and crush all the ants around you. 2, at least you got 2 legs can walk. But you can also topple. 3, very steady. 3, and you're on the right track. Build wisdom. Very important to build wisdom. But you cannot build wisdom without understanding. Which is why you will have Dhamma scholar who don't realize. Who for whatever reason don't understand. But they're very good scholars. They can quote you. They can quote, I can't quote. I can refer. I can't quote. I can do Google. I can't quote. You understand? I'm not even a Pali scholar. I'm a scholar. You know, no? I didn't say the word Pali. Pali is just something I pick up along the way. So that's important. And the wisdom part, what's the problem? The problem is quite a few things there. Are you all in a hurry? No. The problem with the wisdom part is this. Number 1, it has different parts. It has knowledge, conceptual knowledge. It has distilled insight. Distill. Conceptual knowledge are the things that you can find in books and internet, and those are important, but you've got to know which part is the correct part, because there are some parts that are added on by people like us. We read, then we came up with a version, and then we said, this is the version. And the rest of the world go, really? Really? Then we follow. Until we get to the last part, ours can go off. So we must always go back to the correct one. And what are the correct one? You are safest with the suttas. Your Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length saying, the digger, yeah, some parts, but some yutta collected saying, and then you have Anguttara, numerical collection. These are the safe ones. And if you really want, can we give it an easy one? Dhammapada. Dhammapada, very safe. Huh? Oh, you smart already, ma. That's why you realize not easy. Usually when we set off telling stories, Dhammapada is the easiest for a start. It's when you get a little bit more advanced that you realize, wow, 书中有 what? 经中有 whatever, that one. I require assistance. So basically, there is a deeper meaning beyond the superficial words. So one, material, you need the knowledge. But that's not enough. You need the distilled insight. Distill means you've reflected, you have stared at the mind, and something starts to make sense. That's the distilled insight. This part, the distilled insights, requires the other parts. Do you understand? Meaning the restraint, the morality, the creating the correct conditions for the mind to be able to go still. So you need this support. When these things start to make sense, I tell you, when you know you're beginning to know what's going on, is when you begin to read the suttas and every word starts to make sense. How do you know for yourself when you are beginning to get it? Is when you read the sutta, not sigalo what the, that's the easy one. But even Mangala, you begin to see at different angles, different levels. Actually, sigalo what also cannot say it's got its chin portion. The point is, at the point when the Dhamma began to, when you read the suttas, different, you just pull out any suttas, and it sings to you, because you understand. And some people, more emotional, they, very emotional. When that starts to happen, you begin to realize that, I see, I'm beginning to get it. That's when the Dhamma begin to make sense. That's when you know you're on the right track. Which one? Say stop, okay?
Before the Sanskrit one.
That's quite far back.
Just now I just browsed through, right?
So wait.
Some sentence that say, forgo what, running errands and.
Oh, no. That's monks. For monks. Can run errand. No, that's why I didn't want to go into too much detail.
I got one last question that actually I wanted to ask you whether because there is this the sutta that talks about the like 6,500 years later, then our age range will become like 10 years old, that kind. So but I think Dhamma will actually disappear right at that time, because 10 years old cannot actually teach Dhamma.
You do realize you're thinking a lot.
I just want to know, is there any sutta that say will there be do you have any
The main thing about that particular sutta is Cūḻahatthipadopama. The sutta is this: what you know of reality, what you know of conventional reality as is. So this is point one. What you know of conventional reality as you know it, that's just a snapshot in time. Things change. All things change. Even your assumptions about things, they don't hold. You assume man's lifespan is like this. But in that sutta, it tells you lifespan depends on conditions. So many things that you hold to be true, it's your assumption, your belief. All things will change depending on conditions. That's the message. The other thing is this: we can always choose to do good or to do bad. What you choose have significant repercussions. So choose wisely. That's the second point. A third point is, he who is the leader of the land, he who is the king, in this book, in this sutta is a king. He who is the leader of the land holds heavy responsibilities. If he rules unwisely, it will lead to a complete collapse of social order, political order, economic order, and and nature's order. Nature can be affected significantly by the king. So there are a lot of points which are important. Don't take it literally. But these are the lessons that we should take away from these suttas, okay? There are others that you sit down hard enough, you think of more. But those are good enough. Okay, one last question. 没有啦. You're good? Okay? Show of hand. Is it helpful? You like suttas like that? Well done. You see how to not be enlightened in one lifetime. No, seriously. These are the suttas that will help you progress spiritually. How do you know that the sutta help? One, since you got no question, I give you lah. How do you know when the sutta helps? It's when in daily life you encounter something and it bugs the hell of you. You have something. And suddenly a teaching springs to mind. And because of the teaching, you behave not in your usual way. You stop agitating, you reflect, and then you say, okay lah, whatever. And you let go. You know that your mind has already drifted to the Dhamma. You understand? That the Dhamma has made a deep enough impression to now become a part of your life. And that is important. It's a correct Dhamma. And that's important. Okay, that's point one. Point two is something just sprung into my mind. I want to say this. You must always remember, Eightfold Path comprises 3 parts. In your daily life, remember there are 3 parts. If you say, I can't remember 8, never mind, just 3. Wisdom/understanding /knowledge. So it's a progression. First is knowledge, then you begin to understand, and then wisdom dawn. You see what I'm saying? You must have the correct knowledge so that the correct understanding and the correct insights and wisdom arises. Wisdom is always correct. Incorrect is not wisdom. Hence, no correct wisdom. Okay? Always remember this. Part 1. Part 2. Restraints. Restraints our habits. The mind made into hell. Mind made into problems. We mind made our own hell. We mind made other people's hell. The problem is not everyone is wise enough to walk away from your hell. That's the problem. How often we say, I don't want to do this, but I'm forced to. You didn't walk away. So you kena good. What's that? What? Kena syuk. Huh? Okay, that one too. And the third one is the quiet mind. I am not asking you that you have to sit for an extended time, but you must remember the third one is the quiet mind. Even if you find it's very hard to sit, can you give yourself a chance? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, go somewhere, take a breather. Take a breather, and when you are taking your breather, remember the other 2 parts. Right knowledge, right understanding, the wisdom. You remember that part. So as you go quiet, you can't do your meditation, you reflect on the Dhamma. This is to keep you anchored on the Dhamma journey. Anchor you. Otherwise, you will drift like the helium balloon, all hot air and nothing else. You understand? You need to tether yourself down to the Dhamma so that you don't float into hyperspace. Okay? And as long as you are on the right track, your knowledge will come up, the Dhamma knowledge will come up to change the way that you react, you behave. You will feel better. For sure you'll feel better. I'm money back guarantee I dare. For sure you'll feel better. And it's not, Buddhist is long journey. Long means what? You will say. Long means you don't know lah. Depending on your condition and how determined you are. Are you able to predict, looking at a kid, whether or not he will pass primary 6? To some extent you may. What are you looking for? Is he disciplined? Did he study his work well? Does he put in the effort? Does he listen and be open-hearted and open-minded about learning? You're very clever, right? And you see all these conditions, you say, sure can one. Pass, I didn't ask you to 4A star. Just pass. Can, right? You know that if he doesn't observe certain conditions, the odds are he won't pass. If he has certain conditions, the odds are he will pass. Yes? It's the same. For the Dhamma practice, it's the same. If you don't put in the effort, I can guarantee you won't pass. If you put in the effort according to the Buddha, look, and this is according to the path. If, let's say, your PSLE, mathematics, you're supposed to learn plus, minus, but you go go learn multiply and divide. Then all the questions come up. Never mind, don't care, we just multiply and divide. Can pass or not? Did you do what is required? No, you do it your way. You're so clever, you do it your way. Same. The Dhamma, put down like this, he says 8, don't reduce to 6. He says this, don't go and do that. If you do it according to his way, can pass one. Should pass. Distinction or not, I don't know. Whether become Arahant or I don't know lah. But it requires a lot of restraint, a lot of letting go, a lot of wisdom. Okay? Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.